Have you ever wondered where the television signal you are watching is coming from?
As you travel through Maine, from rural crossroads to the center of towns and villages, you often see a Grange Hall.
Anything going on, it was always the Grange. That was their meeting place.
But the main thing about the Grange, it was farmer-oriented.
This was the center of the community.
These buildings are at the heart of what held Maine's communities together, and they open the door to a past that can still be heard today.
In 1934, I came first to a member of the Grange.
We have generous hearts and open hands.
It's patriotism.
With prudence and wisdom.
We say welcome to the Grange.
Oliver Hudson Kelly founded the National Grange, or Patrons of Husbandry, in Washington, D.C. in 1867. As a former Mason, Kelly wanted to create a fraternal order that would educate and alleviate the isolation of poor dirt farmers who knew little of modern farm methods. Granges sprang up throughout Maine, beginning with the Eastern Star No. 1 in Hamden, all the way to number 574, Millstream Grange in Vienna. The Holton Grange became the largest in the world, with over 1,200 members.
What surprises me that the Holton Grange has carried on the slong. It's still open and going. They have bean suppers quite often, and they're attended pretty well.
100 years ago, they joined the Grange because they had nothing else in their community. And that was the place to go because they meet a lot of people, and there probably was a lot of marriages.
More than a social club, the Grange lobbied for farmers' interests, from tariffs to taxes to educational opportunities. One of their biggest legislative victories was getting rural mail delivery, which greatly lessened the isolation of farm families. In Grange ceremonies today, you can still hear the words that have bound generations of Grangers together as they work their way through levels or degrees of knowledge.
Come, patrons, let us join our hands around our sacred shrine. We pledge to each fraternal love as sacred and divine. We pledge fidelity, hold fast unto your vow, in love, in truth, in charity, the pledge you gave us now.
Worthy sir, I have the privilege of introducing Brother John Ryan, who has been chosen master of Holton Grange. I have no doubt that he will carry out all the important duties of his office with fidelity.
You will place your right hand over your heart, pronounce the pronoun I, your name, and the office to which you have been elected. I, John Ryan, have been elected master of Holton Grange. Thank you. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman or whatever you are, you can be master or anything. It's not like some lodges where a woman wouldn't be even in them. But the Grange is a family affair.
This unusually progressive attitude for the 1800s led to the success of the Grange, as it became the center of community life for men and women.
We have a stage which was used for all activities in the town, for weddings, for movies.
10 cents to go see a movie.
Many of the Grange halls are laid out in the same way, with a kitchen and dining area downstairs and a large assembly hall upstairs. But architectural details give each hall an individual character. Before welfare and Social Security existed, Granges looked out for their members by organizing insurance companies.
In the early days, there wasn't the social safety net that we have today to support people when they had problems, and I think that was one of the precepts of the order, that you took care of your brothers and sisters, and it still is.
Some Granges created co-op stores to pool the farmers' buying power. In Aroostook County, the Holton Grange store was legendary.
The Grange store in Holton, they sold about everything.
I know our grandmother, she'd get off the train in Holton, walk over to the Grange store. I think it's the only store she ever went to. She could get everything there that she needed, even grandfather's chewing tobacco she could get there.
Somebody might bring in a whole bunch of eggs and they'd get a credit slip. We'd buy their eggs. You were there to save farmers. It was a farm co-op. They were distributors for Goodyear tires. They bought carloads of flour, women's apparels, men's apparels, groceries, hardware, building materials, shingles. The filling station down here.
The Holton Grange store burned down in 1960, but the hall next door survived. The store had been losing business to the newly emerging supermarkets. It was not rebuilt. Since the 1960s, membership has declined, and more than 400 Grange halls have closed. However, over 170 Granges remain active in Maine, still offering insurance, investment opportunities, and travel discounts to members. Youth Grange continues to grow.
The myth is that a lot of people think that, well, I didn't think I could join the Grange because I'm not a farmer. Well, probably 98% of our members aren't farmers anymore. It's a place for them to all go and interact with other people and get involved in community service and social activity that I think all people really long for, but they just don't know where they're going to get it from.